players.
Yeah, this is my first time meeting all three of them. So obviously people that I've seen on TV and admired, and now getting to work with them, I would definitely say my first impressions are very funny, and they make it easy to work with. Very fun too.
It's not like we're working. This is just fun and funny, and we just get to have a good time.
From way down the counter.
That smile right there, that's the face of someone who's completely unbothered by the noise. While the WNBA's CBA negotiations have dominated headlines for weeks, Caitlin Clark just wrapped filming a Capital One March Madness commercial alongside Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, and Samuel L. Jackson. And the timing of this couldn't be more telling. Because while other players are fighting for leverage in contract talks, she's building a brand that transcends the league entirely.
Streak in this, as she's a natural, mixing it up with Magic, Charles, and Samuel L. Jackson. Without a doubt, no one of the best things I've ever seen do off the court, and she's done plenty. Her personality shines through. Gosh, this is a big moment for Caitlin to be doing this commercial.
Look at what she just said. Natural. Mixing it up with legends. Her personality shines through. These aren't generic corporate talking points from fans trying to defend their favorite player. These are observations from people watching someone who genuinely belongs in rooms with NBA royalty. And that's the part that's driving certain corners of the WNBA fanbase absolutely insane right now. Here's what makes this commercial significant beyond just another endorsement deal. Capital One doesn't throw Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, and Samuel L. Jackson into a commercial unless they're betting big. These are A-list names with serious price tags, and they're not just featuring Caitlin as a token WNBA player for diversity points. Watch that behind-the-scenes footage again. She's holding her own, trading jokes, getting genuine laughs from Barkley, who doesn't fake chemistry for cameras.
Hey, Caitlin Clark is unbothered with the CBA negotiations. Now, Caitlin Clark did go on record earlier during her Zoom call and speak about several things because it was a time and a place, but she's not obligated to speak about these ladies' mix-ups. She ain't obligated about for none of that, bruh. Caitlin Clark has simply been...
This is where we need to talk about what's actually happening with the CBA negotiations, because the timing here matters. On February 3rd, Caitlin did participate in a Zoom call addressing the collective bargaining situation. She went on record supporting her fellow players. She said the right things at the right time. But here's what she's not doing. She's not making it her entire identity. She's not positioning herself as the face of the labor movement. And that calculated distance is exactly what's allowing her to build something bigger. Think about the position this puts her in strategically. The current CBA negotiations are contentious. Players want higher salaries, better travel conditions, improved maternity benefits, all legitimate demands. But these negotiations also come with risk. They come with potential work stoppages. They come with public battles over revenue sharing that can turn ugly fast, and Caitlin's approach has been to support from the sidelines while continuing to build her personal empire.
Basketball footage we done seen. Shout out to Annie Constable, the GOAT of giving us information and feeding the streets with content. Just dropped a 30-second clip of Caitlin Clark and the Gales getting ready to play. Let's roll. Let me see if I can spot Caitlin. Caitlin on this side. I knew it.
That's basketball footage from Team USA's training camp in Miami. First real action we've seen from Caitlin since her injury-shortened rookie season ended. And this is where the narrative gets interesting, because while she's been away from WNBA courts, she hasn't been away from basketball. She's been training at an elite level, getting her body right, and now she's about to showcase that work on an international stage with some of the best players in the world watching the Miami Heat facility. That's not a random choice for Team USA's training camp. That's one of the premier basketball facilities in the world, with a culture built on professionalism and excellence. And according to reporter Annie Costabile, who's been providing content from the camp, the energy around this team is different. You can see it in how players are interacting, how they're moving. This isn't just another exhibition tournament.
Clark said earlier,
I'll probably be a little bit nervous. Nothing will quite emulate this type of environment. So I think it'll probably take me a second to knock a little bit of the rust off. I'll probably be a little bit nervous, which I usually don't get nervous, but that probably just will come from, I haven't really played basketball in a while. So I'm sure like after the first minute of running around on the court, I'll be just fine. But more than anything, just really excited. I know how much work and how much time I've put in to make sure my body's as healthy as it can be, and to get back not only to a point where I feel like I'm myself, but I feel like I'm even better than, where I was at the beginning of last season. And I started off the season really well before I was hurt and tried to play through being hurt. So more than anything, just excited to be out there, be surrounded by a lot of really good players, and, do whatever I can to help us win. But nothing will quite emulate.
Now, that was Caitlin Clark earlier.
Listen to what she's saying here. I'll probably be a little bit nervous, which I usually don't get nervous. That's an incredibly revealing statement from someone who's played in front of record-breaking crowds her entire career. She's not nervous about the competition, she's nervous about the rust, about not having played competitive basketball in months while recovering from injury. That's the mindset of someone who holds themselves to an impossibly high standard. But here's the part that matters for her WNBA future. I feel like I'm even better than where I was at the beginning of last season. She started her rookie year averaging 17.8 points and 8.3 assists before the injury derailed everything. If she's actually improved on those numbers through training and recovery, we're talking about a player who could legitimately compete for MVP in year 2. That's not hype. That's math based on what she did while playing hurt.
That was Caitlin that just hit her. So, yeah, so it looked like they're down in Miami, man. Let's see if Andy Costa will put out some more.
This is the experiment he's talking about. The YouTuber John is trying to change his content approach by getting off camera more, adjusting thumbnails, and letting the content speak for itself. And there's actually something smart happening here that connects to the broader Caitlin Clark story. He's recognizing that the algorithm doesn't care about his face. It cares about the value he's delivering. Just like the mainstream sports media is learning that they need Caitlin Clark more than she needs them. Look at the viewership numbers from her rookie season. Indiana Fever games averaged 1.18 million viewers when she played, compared to 394,000 for games without her. That's a 200% increase. ESPN's most-watched WNBA game ever featured Caitlin, pulling 2.3 million viewers. Those aren't just good numbers for women's basketball. Those are numbers that compete with regular season NBA games on cable, and that's why Capital One wants her in commercials with Magic Johnson.
Down in Miami. See, I hadn't even known they was in Miami. There go Breonna Stewart, Paige Beckers. They was messing with Kate Martin today. There go Kelsey Plum there with Caitlin. And they also released this photo here. So this is the squad right here.
That photo right there is the Team USA roster assembled in Miami. Caitlin's in the back, not seeking the spotlight, even though she's arguably the biggest name in the group from a mainstream recognition standpoint. And that body language tells you something important about how she's approaching this opportunity. She's not here to be the star, she's here to prove she belongs among elite international competition. The roster includes Aja Wilson, Breonna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Sabrina Ionescu. These are Olympic gold medalists and WNBA champions. This isn't a team built around Caitlin Clark. This is a team where she has to earn her minutes against players who've already proven themselves at the highest level. And that's exactly the kind of competition she needs right now, after missing significant time with injury.
On the screen, it's been reported that Caitlin Clark shares last with NBA legends in a Capital One March Madness ad. Behind the scenes captures Caitlin Clark trading jokes with NBA icon Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley plus Samuel L. Jackson for Capital One's upcoming March Madness commercial. Johnson praised her efforts personally, saying it felt like play, not work.
Behind-the-scenes footage from the Capital One commercial shoot shows something that statistics can't capture. It shows genuine chemistry. Magic Johnson said it felt like play, not work. That's not a throwaway line from a professional who's done thousands of commercials. That's someone recognizing authentic charisma. Charles Barkley, who's notoriously difficult to impress and doesn't suffer fools, is cracking up laughing with her between takes. Samuel L. Jackson, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, is engaged and present. This matters because mainstream crossover appeal isn't something you can manufacture. Either you have it or you don't. Either you can hold a room with legends or you can't. And what we're seeing in this footage is someone who absolutely can. That's why her endorsement portfolio is already worth more than most WNBA players will make in their entire careers. Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, Xfinity, Goldman Sachs, and now Capital One. These aren't companies taking chances on potential. These are companies betting on proven marketability. Now let's talk about what this means for the WNBA's future, because this is where it gets complicated. The league needs stars like Caitlin Clark to drive viewership and revenue. But the structure of WNBA contracts means that her on-court salary is capped at $76,535 for her rookie year, regardless of the value she brings. That's why the CBA negotiations are so contentious. Players are arguing that the revenue split is unfair, that they deserve a larger percentage of the money they're generating. But here's the tension that nobody wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark isn't generating revenue equally across the league. She's generating it specifically for Indiana Fever games and nationally televised matchups featuring her. When the Fever played on the road last season, opposing teams saw massive attendance spikes. The Connecticut Sun sold out their arena for the first time in years when Caitlin came to town. That's not league-wide growth. That's one player moving the needle. So what happens in the next CBA negotiation when players argue for higher salaries based on increased revenue, but that revenue is disproportionately driven by one or two players? Do you split it equally? Do you create a supermax contract structure like the NBA? Do you allow players to negotiate individual deals that reflect their market value? These are questions the league is going to have to answer, and there's no clean solution that makes everyone happy. Caitlin's approach of building her brand outside the WNBA structure is actually the smartest possible move in this environment. She can't control what the league pays her. She can't control how revenue sharing works, but she can absolutely control how many endorsement deals she signs, what commercials she appears in, and how she positions herself in the broader sports landscape. And by doing that while staying diplomatically supportive of her fellow players, she's threading a nearly impossible needle. Watch how this Team USA tournament plays out over the next week. It's being broadcast on TNT Sports, which means mainstream sports fans who don't regularly watch the WNBA are going to see her play. If she performs well, that's another data point for brands considering partnerships. If she struggles with rust after the injury layoff, that's a narrative challenge she'll need to overcome heading into her second WNBA season. Either way, the spotlight is back on, and that's ultimately what separates Caitlin from almost everyone else in women's basketball right now. The spotlight doesn't intimidate her, it energizes her. Most players would feel pressure doing a commercial with Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley. She walked in and made them laugh. Most players would be nervous about their first Team USA appearance after injury. She's nervous about her own performance standards, not the competition. That mentality is what builds legends. The WNBA is at a crossroads. The league has more mainstream attention than ever before, largely due to Caitlin's rookie season. But that attention comes with scrutiny. It comes with questions about why salaries are so low when arenas are selling out. It comes with debates about media coverage, about how players are marketed, about whether the league is doing enough to capitalize on this moment. And Caitlin's sitting in the middle of all of it, building her brand while everyone else argues about structure. Here's my prediction. By the time the next CBA is negotiated, Caitlin Clark will have more endorsement money than any player in WNBA history. She'll have proven herself internationally with Team USA. She'll have an MVP-caliber second season if she stays healthy. And she'll have leverage that no WNBA player has ever had before. The question is whether she uses that leverage to push for systemic change or whether she continues building her personal empire while staying diplomatically neutral. Based on everything we've seen so far, I think she stays neutral. I think she supports her teammates publicly while privately focusing on becoming the biggest star women's basketball has ever produced. And I think that's going to create tension with players who want her to use her platform more aggressively for collective benefit. But you can't fault someone for playing the hand they've been dealt as well as possible. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark obligated to be the face of WNBA labor negotiations just because she's the biggest star? Or is she smart to build her personal brand while staying supportive from a distance? Because this is the debate that's going to define the next era of women's professional basketball. And there's no right answer that makes everyone happy. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that like button. Subscribe for more WNBA content that goes beyond the surface level takes, and drop your thoughts in the comments because I genuinely want to know where you stand on this. Until next time, shake the haters off.